In this video, you're going to get to see me do a touch-up paint job on my car's rim because I was dumb and I ran up onto a curb. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and stick around. So we got the wheel off of the car and we're just trying to take a look at this and see how much damage we have going on right here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand this down first as our first step, and then we'll move on from there. So what I have for that is I have a little flap wheel on a Dremel tool, and this is a 120 grit. Hopefully you guys can see that. And essentially, I'm just going to kind of go over this, try to smooth this out as much as possible. Hopefully it takes out the majority of this damage, but if there's some that's a little bit deeper, I may end up having to leave that, but that's a step that hopefully will be filled in a little bit later with one of my fill-in primers. So let's get started on this with the Dremel tool. Safety glasses. Okay, so I think I'm done dremeling at this point, and when I rub my finger across it, it's actually really smooth, so I'm pretty happy with that. You can see there are some little bit deeper gouges right through there, but I'm hoping that the primer that I'm going to add to it will kind of fill that in, even that out, and it'll be a lot smoother than what it's looking right now. But to feel it just by hand, it is not bad at all, so I think we're ready to move to the next step. Alright, so my next step is I'm just going to kind of brush off some of the material and dirt away. Alright, since I'm really only working here, this is what I'm really mainly worried about. I'm not worried about the rest of it, so I just want to kind of get that area right there, and just enough also to where I can get the tape to stick around the wheel, so that's pretty good. Next thing, I'm just going to kind of get some of this greased lightning, just something that's going to take away any sort of grease, grime, whatever, dirt off of that. So let's just wipe it down with a little bit of water. And dry it up. That's it. Now we'll tape it all up to isolate where we need to do their painting, and we'll get started with that. So the next thing that we're going to do is add a filler primer. And I'm going to start off with a light coat, and then I'll build from there. But I'm just going to do a light coat to begin with, and then wait about 10 minutes and do another light coat, and just kind of give it some layers. That way we don't do too much at a time. We cause drips and it's going to look bad. So just going to shake this up. We've got our rim all taped off, so let's get to this. Just checking it to make sure it's coming out. And that's all I'm going to put on for the first coat. So I'm going to give it about 10 or 15 minutes, let this dry, let this set up, and then I'll give it another coat. Alright, so we got our first coat in, about to apply the second coat. I'm not sure if you guys saw it the last time, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting an even dispense right here before I start my swipe right here. So that's all I'm doing right there. So here we go. And then I'm going to make sure I will get that other Now that other side here. So that tape coming up, just like that. And we'll leave that as is. We'll hit it with a third round here in a little bit, let that dry. So really all it depends on your grooves, right? We're not looking too bad right now, but I'm gonna hit this with another gray before, or a primer I should say, before we hit that with black. So one more time with the gray. Make sure we get that even spray. And hit it back on that back side. Just like that. Okay, so we've given the coats for the primer. Now we're going to hit this with, hopefully we can see this, a flat black. So this is what I have on my rims. My rims are a flat black. So this is what I'm using right here. And I'm essentially going to do the same thing, just kind of coat it, give it a few coats, and hopefully this kind of smooths everything out. So let's go. And we'll let that dry and give her another coat. So number 2. Go to the other side here. So I think I'm gonna give this one more coat. Let this dry for another 10 or 15 minutes. One more coat, and we'll see what we got. All right, so here we go. We're gonna hit this with number 3, and this is what we're gonna end with. Hook this up, make sure we're getting a nice even spray. Yep, we're good. Nice and even. Hit that other side. That's it. So now we're going to wait for the results. Okay, well, so we're going to see if we can pull that line away. I'm not really sure what that is. It might be just kind of the thickness to it. With this abrasion buffs, there are a couple little finishing abrasion buffs. So I'm going to slide these over this top of this line, see if we can kind of smooth things out a little bit. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
All right. So unfortunately that gray is shining through, so I'm going to buff that out a little bit with this little abrasion tool. And then I'm going to have to go back over it with the flat black again. Yep, so that looks like that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to throw it back on there again. Daggone it. Nah, that's how it rolls. Here we go. Let's try it again. All right, so I just really want to kind of line this with a little bit of black, cover up that little white spot that we got there. It's that, I think it's that gray primer through there, so I'm just going to kind of try to cover that up a little bit with a little bit of gray, or sorry, a little bit of black. Make sure we got that even coverage right there, there. And this is going to be a one coat do. That's it. That's what we're hitting it with. Let that dry and we'll see what happens now. Actually, that's not awful. That's not too bad. It is not perfect by any means, but that does cover up that problem area that we had. So yeah, that is our error right there. Yeah, not too bad. Absolutely not perfect, but for gouges driven into that rim, that is not bad for a quick fix. It really took us, you know, mostly about the time to slim it down with that flat brush on the Dremel tool, and then the waiting time for the paint. That's really all it took. So pretty happy with that. If you guys like, make sure you like and share. We will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.